Okay.
All right, and you'll know when I'm ready to go.
Good.
All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So, as usual, we are normally talking about health, business, and lifestyle. And as usual, I have another great new co-host for you guys. And this one is once again from the power of networking. I can do a shout out and thank you to Dr. Glenn Nozek, who helped us get connected. He had recommended our co-host for today, some of their technology, which literally the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Robbins uses himself. So I'll go ahead and do some name dropping on her behalf. But most importantly, you can find out more about them right off the bat by visiting their website, which is PEMFglobal.com. We're going to talk more about that because there's literally, I'm about to learn a lot with you what a PEMF expert is really all about. But she comes on and she travels around the world and speaks about pulsed electromagnetic technology, and she's basically a pioneer in this field, and I'm excited to learn more about it. So without further ado, welcome Allie Ochs to the show.
Thank you, Scott, for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'm excited to teach you.
I love learning. So if any of our listeners are familiar with that, I geek out on this stuff. So, and it looks like as far as because I want to make sure that our listeners can find you easily. And it looks like it's pretty simple. I mean, you're pretty much consistently everywhere, even on Twitter. Twitter is even at PEMF. That's Peter, Edward, Mary, Frank, Global.com. And that's kind of your brand everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, my personal brand. I'm also the president of Swiss Bionic Solutions, Canada.
I noticed that your email address had that, swissbionic.com. So I was like, oh, okay, there's something else we need to dig into as well.
Yes.
Now, is that another platform? Because it was funny for our listeners. We were literally just talking about how much Allie loves the Canadians. They're so friendly. And clearly, Swiss Bionic is another brand that is spinning off from utilizing this type of technology, correct?
Actually, it's the other way around. Swiss Bionic Solution is the manufacturer located in Switzerland.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 11 years ago, when I started with this technology, which consists of a whole body mat, pillow, probe, and we get into that.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, I was called the mat lady, which is not
I'm sorry, the what lady?
The mat.
Oh, as in the mats you lay on, the mat on the floor.
Yeah,
okay. I do yoga, so I get it.
Okay. You ought to be doing yoga on a PMF mat. You'll be blown away.
Oh, I'm game. Let's do this.
So I was called the mat lady, which is not a very nice name. It was sort of like, oh my God, here she comes again. And so people at that time questioned the legitimacy and credibility of PEMF technology here in North America. I started with PEMF technology after I had severe health issues for 5 years. And I had back pain, I had irritable bowel, I had female issues, not going to get into details. And I couldn't sleep. I was depressed. I had shoulder injuries. And, you know, this is sort of what people experience in today's world, civilization illnesses. 80% of the people in North America experience pains, aches, or some form of a chronic condition.
Okay.
So was I. And the conventional medical system in North America, which inherently just deals with the symptoms. All right. So
we do love symptoms here. We just like to fix them with drugs.
Oh my God. We don't even care here in North America. What does it take for the human body to be healthy? So in my situation, okay, the conventional system didn't help me. I resorted to PEMF, was introduced to it through an old girlfriend of mine from Germany. And this is how I became involved with Swiss Bionic and the CEO of Swiss Bionic, Wolfgang, and we are really amazing friends. And this is how I was partly instrumental in introducing this technology into the North American market. Because once I was better, everybody wanted to know, what does Allie do? What did you do? Right?
Besides being a mat lady.
That's right. And so Swiss Bionic is in Switzerland. They manufacture all over the world, but the actual device is put together in Switzerland and comes from Switzerland. And the IMS in particular is by now a medical device, which comes with an intent of use. And Swiss Bionic Canada, of which I am the president, is the importer of these devices. Right?
Okay.
So I hold a medical device establishment license to import and distribute all over Canada. So that's my role as a president. Also as a leader, to, like you said before, to go around, educate people about the power of PEMF technology and what it can do on your health or for your health. And also to be a support system for our hundreds and hundreds of representatives that we have all over North America, Asia, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, and so on.
So, just to try and make some connections, recently, our biggest downloaded episode was co-hosted by a very well-known neurosurgeon, Dr. Jack Cruz. Are you familiar with his work?
Yes.
It seems like everybody is, because his downloads have been crushing it. But so is he also familiar with your technology?
I think he is familiar with PEMF, but I want to say he doesn't know everything about it.
Of course not. We can't know everything. I mean, we have to be leading to experts like you who actually are pioneering that technology.
Yeah, he has some incorrect information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because it's always up to people to do their due diligence as to what PEMF truly is and what it can and cannot do. Right.
Well, for our listeners, I love what you just said there. It's up to us to take accountability for our own health. The recent episode that aired with Glenn and Ina Nozek, he couldn't have said it better himself. It's like, we need to listen to our inner physician and start getting self-taught, because no offense to the MDs out there. Well, some offense, because I'm a little frustrated with them, but
yeah,
they're unfortunately, due to the industry here in the States, in the US of A, we've just pushed them into literally just being a production model, and people are going in and out, and they're only seeing patients every 10 to 15 minutes, and they're just cycling. And they don't have the time, or they're not taking the time in their career to study nutrition or new technology like this, because they only have so much time. So that's why I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on that, because I really value your statement there, because I really want to help expand that to our listener base too. It's like, guys, start taking at least a few minutes of your day or your week or your month and study something new. It's your own health. We got to take accountability for it.
And be discerning. Check your sources, right? And what you just said about doctors, PEMF is so powerful in the sense that it works on every single cell in the human body, and we're going to explore that. And we have fabulous results. We also have fabulous results with cancer patients, right? Mm-hmm. But PEMF does not heal or cure cancer. PEMF is a supportive modality to support optimum cell function and to help reduce aches and pains.
Okay.
So we cannot make any claims about cancer, even though a lot of our cancer patients swear by using PEMF for the reasons I just gave you. But then here is chemotherapy, and they can make all the claims in the world.
Right.
Where is the proof that chemo cures?
Well, and to be fair, I don't know, are you familiar with, here in the States, there's a very well-known podcaster by the name of Vinny Twitterich. He runs the show called Fitness Confidential.
No, I'm not.
I'll have to get you guys connected, because he's one of these fellow health and fitness nuts. He's now been on my show 2 or 3 times. I'm about to air on his show and he probably hits about 1 million downloads a month. His show's been around for going on 5 years next month. So he's also author of the book Fitness Confidential. But the point is that we have to be willing to open ourselves up to study things that aren't the norm, right? I mean, he is a fellow cancer survivor. He survived leukemia. He's the person who trademarked the term NSNG, which is no sugars, no grains, because he's an advocate thanks to his doctor friend who helped him survive cancer. She told him, like, listen, I'll give you the chemo, and we have to because you have leukemia. And he's a professional. He was a professional cycling athlete. Like, the guy does crazy endurance races. But she said, listen, you need to get off the bike right now. I need to put you in for treatment, and we have to change your lifestyle right away. She's like, cut the sugars, cut the grains. And again, we don't have all the studies yet to reinforce that. But he's an advocate to this day that he lives the NSNG lifestyle by increasing healthy fats back into his diet, fixing his sleep habits, circadian rhythm, all of this. And he's still surviving. He's still surviving cancer. He goes back every year, and they have not found a resurgence of cancer in his body. And they told him that it'll probably come back in 5 to 9 years, and he's already passed that initial threshold, and they still have nothing, and they can't explain it. He obviously explains it as his healthy lifestyle choices. So, yeah, I'm sure you could talk to that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, cancer, and then we'll maybe get into explaining to people what PEMF really is and what it does.
Definitely.
But to me, cancer is not even a disease. It's a symptom of something that has been going wrong in your body for quite some time. And whatever that is that has been going wrong happens on the cell level. And this is the important part for people to learn about their own cells, right? And then cancer represents itself as a symptom, right? And,
I consider it like a miswired cell. Like, that's like after all of this miswiring and misfrequencies in our body and bad diet, bad life, all these things add up over time. Then eventually, your body starts cracking and breaking, and cancer cells come.
That's right. And so what PEMF really does, it increases the blood circulation, and it restores cell function. So what happens is, first of all, I think people need like a little jog into biology 101.
And actually, real quick, while you're explaining this, because now we're videoing this, and this video will become a YouTube video on my channel. So that way, for non-podcasters, they can learn too. I'm going to do a share screen here and go to one of your sites. Is there anything you want to recommend that I have up in the background?
No, like, you just play around with it.
Okay, so while you're talking, I'll have your site up in case there was a page on your site that I should just leave up while you're explaining some things. So
okay.
But you just tell me and I'll guide.
When I'm in my talk, I'm just, so.
Because you're the expert.
It's also my passion, because we have 1.5 million users every day on our systems, right? And that sort of speaks for itself. But I want to jog people back into a little bit of biology 101. Mm-hmm. So, we know from science that we have roughly about 75 trillion cells. So when we talk about in this world, we're all so different, or people talk about their diseases and they talk about it's my fibromyalgia, it's my cancer, it's my back pain. People feel they are so different. But in reality, we're not, because we all have 75 trillion cells, and it is our health is determined how optimally do those cells function. Okay, that's the essence of human health. If all your cells would function at the optimum level, what do you imagine would happen, Scott?
Well, I mean, if everything is perfectly at the optimum level, you should have really, I hate to say it so so grandly, but you shouldn't have any issues. I mean, you should be high energy. You should have perfect sleep, perfect energy throughout the day. You're just a perfectly well-wired machine.
Right. And this is what happens with a PEMF system. Also, when you have pre-existing conditions prior to using a PMF system, and they may be chronic diseases, they may be cancer, they may be pains, aches, anywhere elsewhere in the body, then once all your cells function at their optimum level, then the body can restore, regenerate, rejuvenate, and your cells function at the optimum level. And here is how a PMF system does it. Okay, they come, all these devices come with a whole body mat. And the whole body mat is based on NASA technology. And we are using the very expensive copper coils, which a lot of competitors do not.
Copper is expensive as a raw material. That's
right. And so when you lie on this whole body mat, imagine and then you see it here on the screen, and you unfold it, you lie on it, you've got your computer system with it, you turn it on, and while you lie on it, there's electromagnetic fields that are emitted from the whole body mat, going right through your body, and you can measure that with a detector.
Well, basic technology, and again, I am not at your level, but let me help you connect to you. Back in the 90s when I was in high school, instead of going to a college prep program to go to the university, because I grew up on a farm, I didn't know if I was able to, beginning to have the money to go to school. I actually went to a vocational technical school, and I studied microelectronics technology. So I literally, when I was, 15 through 17, studied 3 years, everything from DC to AC to digital to microprocessors. So I geek out on technology. But I know that obviously for some of our listeners who aren't techie, like copper, okay, it's a conductor and you can supercharge it, you can electrocharge it. So I totally understand everything that's behind this, because copper and electricity have been used for years.
Yeah. Or you can use cheap copper and you don't have the same effect.
Yes, you won't have the same, am I correct in saying this, the same conductive properties?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So while you lie on that whole body mat, there's 6 copper coils in there. And the electromagnetic field goes right through your body. And what is emitted is a sawtooth waveform, a triple sawtooth waveform. That delivers the frequencies within the biological window of human cell frequencies. So this is also a very important piece of information. We established we have 75 trillion cells. All our cells have plus and minus. All our cells create an electromagnetic field.
This is something that Jack Kruse talks about too, right? We are basically a large energy conductor. We are our own power plant, so to speak.
That's right. So every cell creates an electromagnetic field. Therefore, every human cell has a frequency. And there is a biological window of human cell frequencies that has been established by Ross Adey, A-D-E-Y. And it states that human cells are within 0.5 and 28 hertz. Okay, so that's a given. So this is the frequency range of all our cells. So, and
can I pause you here? Because I do have a question on that frequency. I literally was just talking to a friend of mine, and I might need to get you guys connected because he sounds like he's in your world. But he works with one of the world's largest GI scope technologies, the scopes that go up inside of your body for surgeries and stuff. Anyway, he geeks out on all this stuff, and he was talking about how if you took a 6-foot long copper rod and hammered it down into the earth and then put a testing meter on it, the earth resonates at a certain frequency.
That's right.
And he talks about how our bodies, depending on our lifestyle, also have a certain frequency. And one of the best ways to heal the body is to get our bodies back into the same frequency as our Mother Earth. And that's why we talk about things like grounding, like people walking outside and grounding them, and how people have, they stand on top of grounding mats now at their home desks, at their offices and stuff like that. Are we all in that same world right now? Am I on the same wavelength?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
he is also talking about resonance frequency. So what does that mean?
Okay.
So you have 75 trillion cells, and I give you your own frequency range, which, by the way, also entails the frequency of the magnetic field of the Earth, which also includes the Schumann resonance, right?
I think he actually said that term, now that you said that.
That's right. So now you lie on this mat, the frequencies go right through your body, and on their way, they resonate with their own frequency. And there is a difference between resonance frequencies and other frequencies that people claim are more powerful, right?
Okay, so are those the types of, we're not trying to label people, but like I hear things about like stones, like mineral stones, and how they resonate at frequencies, and you want to have that for your chakras and stuff like that. Are we talking about that type of stuff, or is that different?
No, I talk about science here, okay?
Right.
I talk about science.
I love it.
Because this technology works whether you believe in it or not. PEMF doesn't care what you believe, right? Okay. Because it is rooted in science. It is NASA technology. There are more studies on low frequency based pulsed electromagnetic fields than there are on aspirin, right? So, wow. Yeah, so PEMF is actually nothing new. It is just something that people in North America haven't been exposed to and don't really understand, or most people, I should say.
Well, I can back that up. It's not necessarily your fault as an organization or a company. You're just trying to teach us, because I've worked in technology companies over the years, and one thing I've observed, and obviously your accent is from Germany, as we spoke about before we started the recording. Yeah. And it's funny because I spent years working for a company known as T-Mobile. Their parent company is from Germany, Deutsche Telekom.
Right.
And from working in that industry, I learned how a lot of things happen in other countries first. Before it finally gets through all of our regulations and qualifications and blah, 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 before we can even start teaching or selling it here. Like everybody else in the world, Japan, Germany, your guys' smartphones alone are already 1 or 2 generations ahead of us, and we'll get that eventually. So it seems that we're just a little, I don't know if it's because we're very uptight and it takes longer for us to learn, or we're choked by our, I don't want to get political, but the point is, it doesn't surprise me that we're still playing catch up on a lot of things.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So, talking about telecom, I'll get back to that in a minute. So now you lie on this mat, and your cells resonate with their own frequency instead of being targeted by frequencies. So what does that mean? Okay, resonance effect. Mm-hmm. It simply means that within 8 minutes on the whole body mat, all your 75 trillion cells resonate with their own frequency. So cell charge is raised, right? Mm-hmm. Cells can communicate, and cells can turn over into healthy cells, right?
So you're basically reprogramming them.
That's right. So this is the essence of anti-aging. That's how we understand anti-aging. And still, in North America, a lot of people understand anti-aging from a visible perspective, meaning, well, does she have a lot of wrinkles? Or, well, she's 75 years old and she doesn't have a lot of wrinkles. That should be good, But
are you 75 years old?
No.
I was going to say, I don't think you're that old. I was going to say, man, this must work.
Well, if you knew how old I am, you would still say it works.
Well, they say never ask a woman her age, but I'm sorry. I was just like, I wasn't sure if you were referring to you, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, you are rocking it. So.
Yeah, but over 60, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Right?
Still, again, my parents are over 60, and they don't look as good as you. I mean, that's a good example of taking care of yourself the right way.
Right. And I'm a believer in science, right? Because, in science, you can replicate, and I'm talking, you can replicate studies. I'm not talking about the industry-friendly science that is done by pharmaceutical companies and corporations that are just out to sell, right?
Exactly.
So I'm talking about true science where you take certain frequencies, in this case, resonance frequencies, 0.5 to 28 hertz, and you put them through replicatable, duplicatable scientific studies, and you get the same results, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is science to me. So while you lie on there, after 8 minutes, all your cells resonate and the effects last for 8 hours, right? So now you have energy, you sleep better, your cells can absorb nutrients, they can eliminate toxins, they can utilize oxygen. You know, everybody is doing hyperbaric chambers and all this kind of stuff, you know, increasing oxygen levels in the body. Well, let me tell you, that's wonderful. But if your cells don't work at their optimum level, they are not capable of utilizing this oxygen. And the same holds true for nutritional supplements. North America is supplementing like no other.
Oh, it's $1 billion industry. I mean,
Right.
I literally have a side business with a nutrition company because, I mean, let's be real, nutrition is important, right? We, unfortunately, especially here in the U.S., our nutrient density of the food has really dropped because I grew up in farming, so that I can speak to. But
Yeah.
to your point, I could pump your body full some of the best nutrient-dense food, aka supplements on the planet,
Right.
and if you're not wired to break that down and absorb it in the most effective, efficient way, you're not maximizing that at all.
No,
And
exactly.
Jack talks about that too, because so now his big thing is he calls himself the mitochondriac, obviously focusing on mitochondrial health of the cells.
Well, that's
And
what I'm talking about too, mitochondrial function, right?
Okay, all right.
How do I get that? I mean, whether I say optimum cell function or optimum mitochondrial function, mitochondrial function is just another word of cell function.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and he talks about, I think from his episode, he focused a lot on, again, just like you're talking about how we are, all of our cells, electrons, protons, all this. And then he also talks about how so many of us are stuck in artificial light, not out in the sun, not absorbing natural, healthy UV, and how I learned, I didn't realize that our eyes literally produce the necessary components to keep our mitochondria healthy. But to your point as well, there's also, is your body wired or in a healthy state of wiring, so to speak, to be ready to absorb and maximize that as well. That's what we're talking about here.
Right. And you know, and you want to have healthy cell function, and when you lie on a PEMF system within the range of resonance frequencies, after 8 minutes, all your cells resonate at the highest frequency, and the effects last for 6 hours.
Actually, I'm going to bring that back up because I did see something about 8 minutes on your site. So while you're talking about this, I'm going to share that again.
And you can actually measure these results by doing a live blood analysis, also called microscopy. That's a word, I break my tongue. That's why
Is that involved doing like before and after type blood panel testing and things like that?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yes.
Because I haven't done any of that yet, but it's literally on my goals list on my dry erase board. Ever since launching this show in September, it's like, great, now I got all this to-do stuff. Because I want to hack myself. You know, they call it biohacking, or Jack talks about mitohacking. But the whole point here is like this is what we're all about, man. We got to take the time, and not everybody wants to do it at my level. And I'm still catching up to other people's levels. Like I'm sure you've heard of Dave Asprey, the Bulletproof guy. I'm sure he probably plays with some of this stuff too. So.
Oh, he has one.
See, I knew it. He's got that vibrating table platform. Have you seen that thing he built?
No,
I don't know. Something, and literally you stand on it and you're vibrating all over the place. But then as soon as you drop into a half squat, all of a sudden, like you can hear fine. Like I was at an event in California last year and it was there on display and I was standing on it and it literally was shaking your whole body at a certain, vibrating frequency or whatever. So not this, obviously, definitely not this.
I'm not sure whether that is natural, because I'm also into things that are natural to the human body, that the body can actually recognize.
Yeah, it was weird.
And all I'm really into is PMF because that is the essence of human health. That's where it all begins. I'm not a nutritional expert. I'm not, a vibration expert. I'm not a gym expert. I'm not even, don't even ask me what is healthy food. I've got a rough idea, but it's not my forte. It's not where I want to advise people on, because I think they would be ill-advised if they asked me about nutrition. There are other people that know more about it than I do, okay? Yeah. And I'm quite honest about it. So I don't want to be everything to everybody. I have my niche, and I have helped so many thousands of people worldwide to improve their health, because here's what happens when your cells resonate at the highest frequency. Then, because every cell creates an electromagnetic field, so right. Every cell has a voltage, and healthy cells, or a cell should have at least minus 70 to minus 90 millivolt to do its optimum function. A cancer cell has minus 20 or minus 30 millivolt. Your heart cells have minus 120 or minus 130. That is why the heart also creates the largest electromagnetic field, 3D, all the way around you.
It literally is one of the power plant components of our body, right? I mean, without our blood circulation, we don't survive.
And that is why there is no cancer of the heart as a primary cancer, because these cells they're always busy, they're always occupied, and they have a large electromagnetic field of minus 120 or minus 130. So this is so. Wouldn't I pay attention to why that is? And would I not want to have my cells resonate at the highest frequency?
That's a very great point. I literally used to be on the board of a small cancer charity years ago, and I've always been a big advocate for raising money and everything else for all my athletic activities. And admittedly, I'd never thought about that. There's no official major disease of cancer of the heart that you're speaking about. I've never really thought about that.
Well, there are heart diseases, but
they're definitely heart disease. Cancer, yes,
right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting, right? And then when you lie on this whole body mat, and you do this twice a day, there's another ticking time bomb in our environment that I would like to talk about if we still have the time.
Yeah, I don't have another call until. Well, I still have 17 minutes yet, so we're good.
Okay, so we'll cover that too, because there's a lot of misconception about the ticking time bomb or the elephant in the room. And people don't like to hear what I have to say, because there's no easy way out of this one.
So let's go ahead and upset our listeners. Let's do it.
Yeah. So this is wireless and other forms of radiation in our environment. And that could come from cell phones, from computers, from baby monitors, microwaves, living close to cell phone towers.
Yes.
And the whole gadget, right? And even all the devices that people have that.
Well, even right now, I have my laptop screen in front of me. I have a Samsung TV model type of computer monitor that I'm literally watching you and myself talk on right now. I've got the microphone. I've got Jack Cruz himself said me wearing these headphones, for example, is not good. I'm literally encapsulating sound energy, but there's still frequencies in this that are right around my brain. I've got a light on in here. He's like, Scott, when we did our episode, he came on video and he had his blue light filtering red lens glasses on. And he's like, Scott, just so you know, even with this and everything that I've done, he said, I'm literally killing myself right now doing this.
If the blue glasses work, that's still questionable.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
Blue filter not working. Maybe it works. Interesting.
I don't know. Right? I'm not, but here is what I'm saying and what I want people to understand. And I think that is extremely important. Nobody likes to hear about wireless and other forms of radiation. I mean, you have a bit of an understanding, but you know what? It's not about you. It's not about me.
No, it's about everybody, teaching, education.
It's a ticking time bomb because this form of radiation affects every single cell, not just your 75 trillion cells or mine or the entire population. You know, it also affects animals because they're made up of cells, and it affects plants. It affects our entire planet. And people do not want to hear about it because what are they going to do to escape it? All right? You can do all you want because you are constantly being Wi-Fi'd. We all are. People have to go to work. You know, there are these beautiful websites, for instance, and I'm not going to name any, that tell you, oh, well, you should go out once a week and ground in a park.
Right.
Okay, but that doesn't help you on a permanent basis because your cells are being Wi-Fi'd all day long. It is invisible. You can't taste it. You can't smell it. Yet it creates a whole host of chronic and other forms of condition on people's health that some may attribute to wireless and others not. Because, you know, if you go to the doctor and you have, for give you an example, fibromyalgia. So you go to your doctor, you have fibromyalgia, your doctor recognizes that fibromyalgia represents itself by pain all over. Okay, great. So you're going to be put into this catch-all bucket of fibromyalgia, and you're being prescribed maybe physio, maybe massage therapy, and of course pills.
Yes, you gotta have your pharmaceutical therapy because that's their Band-Aid.
Right. So now you're a fibromyalgia sufferer, all right? Your doctor doesn't ask you how much wireless devices and do you have in your environment around you. Do you happen to live close to a cell phone tower? Because here's the thing. In Japan, the same condition, fibromyalgia, people with the same symptoms, it's called magnetic field deficiency syndrome. And there's a large study done on that. You know, when they place people in a natural environment away from cars, from hotels, from cell phones, you know,
from electricity towers, all that, right?
That's right. So, and how does this happen that these forms of wireless and other forms of radiation have such a huge impact on our health? Most people don't understand it. So I'm trying to put it in the most simplistic form that I possibly can. We were talking about frequencies before, okay? Human cells, 0.5 to 28 hertz. The electricity at your outlet is 60 hertz.
Yes.
That is already outside of the biological window of human cell frequencies.
And we have electrical wiring throughout our entire home. And also, I mean, we'll just speak of the home because that's the 60 hertz frequency, right? Every home has that wiring in the walls, our outlets all around us, our lighting, everything.
And now we're going to go a step further. Now, you know, we have wireless, we have cell phones that are in the gigahertz range, right?
Oh yes, everybody wants stronger Wi-Fi in their homes, so they're amplifying it to the gigahertz frequency level to give you better wireless in your home.
Definitely. And these are all frequencies that are foreign to human cells. Okay, your cells do not recognize them, but nevertheless, they produce ionizing and non-ionizing effects, right? Because they impair cell function. Okay, they're like pounding at your cells. And yes, the big topic is cell phones create brain tumor. That's only one of the problems. It's big enough, but that's only one of the problems. Because
and they're still arguing that as well. I mean, they're claiming that these massive high voltage power line, you know, centers or these concentrations of them, these towns or these homes that are right underneath them or near them, and all these are. It just happens to be a coincidence. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't need to be a scientist to back that up. I completely agree. That is because of the high voltage power lines. And it's funny you bring this up about fibromyalgia. You literally just got me to flashback to 1997. There was a friend of mine who lives in northern Pennsylvania up here, and she suffered from that. And I remember where her house was. She was literally practically right underneath a high voltage power line center coming through there.
But the people it's very hard for people to make that connection because that information is also suppressed, right?
Sure. Yes.
I was once at a hearing, with Health Canada and, with the lawyers, for Rogers, all the Bell, they all have one lawyer because they all have the same interest, right?
And they all share the big budget cost to pay for that.
That's right. And the funny thing was he made the suggestion, if needed to, and this just in lay terms, if needed to, we'll make smaller cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately there was a break for the whole meeting. So I caught him outside and I said, you are just such an effing idiot. Okay? Because you say, it's like the cigarette companies. Okay. Right. Let's make them shorter. Let's make them slimmer. Let's continue to kill people in slow motion.
Right.
So that's basically what you're saying. You're no different than the cigarette companies. So wireless and other forms of radiation from these sources are the new cigarette. But you know what? There are no non-smoking rooms available.
Great point.
There aren't. And I know why people don't want to hear about it, because they're like, what do I do? What can I do? And I'm saying, you have to remove yourself from the source of wireless and other forms of radiation as much as you can. I mean, most people cannot afford to quit their job, can they?
No, we have to, and that's something that Jack talked about too. It's like, listen, for our listeners, let's really listen in here to what she's saying, guys and ladies, is that it's baby steps, right? At least start opening your mind to it and being aware of it. And because again, PEMF, what we're talking about here, it's like, guys, like some people may still think this is very futuristic, but guess what? Everybody thought that smoking was great for you years ago. Well, studies have proven that that's changed over the past 20, 30, 40 years. So it just took time to finally bring it all to the forefront and get people to actually pay attention.
That's right. And here's my recommendation, even though it's not the cure-all, right?
Right.
But it's one of your best shots you can do, is go on a PEMF system twice a day for 8 minutes. You, your husband, your children, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your dog, your goldfish, everything, right?
Right.
To restore cell function, because cell function is impaired by our environment, right? So you have to recharge your cells, because your cells, like when you're in an environment of wireless and other forms of radiation, your cell charge drops, your cell function is impaired, your cells can't even do what they are supposed to do. And this is a real problem.
So we can relate that back to the whole, I mean, again, I teach CrossFit in my free time, a form of fitness, on Fridays, which I'll be doing tonight. And I talk a lot about proper rest and recovery. And that's very, very high level, right? Yeah, everybody initially, when you hear rest and recovery, they talk about, well, at least for the initial beginner to figure out circadian rhythm, is your quantity of hours and your frequency. How often, like, are you going to bed at 10 o'clock at night and then 2 o'clock in the morning the next morning and then 8 p.m. the next night? Like, you're all over the place. Your body does want to be programmed, but that's very high level. Now what we're talking about, we're talking down to the cellular level, that if your frequencies have been so misprogrammed and thrown off the natural way of life, the way they should be dialed in, it's going to take even longer, if not never, actually, to try and recalibrate your body to get that peak rest and recovery place. That's what I'm hearing from you right now.
And you get, like with the PEMF system, if you use it in the evening, like the Omnium, for instance, which is the PEMF to go, the tablet version, which of course you don't need to be on Wi-Fi to use the PEMF application. If you can just click on Omnium on the top there, then we.
Oh yes, I was in that page before. I did notice there was more, because for our YouTube watchers, we were on IMRS, and now we're switching over to the Omnium One, and yes. I noticed there was way more like kits in here, and I was wondering what the differences were.
Yeah, and the Omnium is actually an Android-based PMF system. The reason why it is an Android-based system is that you can go online like every 3 or 4 months and download upgrades for your programs. That's
Okay.
the only reason you need to go on there. Other than that, you own all the applications on your tablet. You never need to be on Wi-Fi to use it. The opposite, you can, just as you can with the IMS, you can restore a cell function the same way, you know, as you do. And the reason why a lot of people like the Omnium, because it's a small, compact version, it is less expensive, and you can take it with you anywhere. Like I take it with me on a plane, so I never have jet lag, right?
Right. I noticed that there's different photos you show people. Some people are using the blindfold thing for while you, let's say you're sleeping on the plane. It's like taking your blindfold on a plane to a whole other level.
Exactly. But also at home, you can use what's called the Sound Light Relax system at the same time as you use your PMF application, right? So it's like in this case, so it's a total out of world experience, right? When you have PMF and when you have Soundlight. And with our Soundlight Relax system, you use it right from the tablet, and you can put your own music on. You have the brain frequencies, right? And you have the different light, and you can, as you can see in that picture with the little sliders there,
Yep.
you can create your own color, right?
Oh, so inside that blindfold, your eyes are actually not closed, or maybe they are, but you're literally emitting different light frequencies along with everything else you're doing. I see.
All right. So you can have your blue light here too, and a whole lot more.
Well,
right?
no blue light. We don't want the blue light.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow, this is pretty cool. And it's funny you mentioned about cycling it in with your music because, oh God, this would be 2005, 2006. I had gone back to university in the evenings and the weekends to do my degree in marketing and psychology while I was working my corporate gig. And I was really just trying to hack my more adult brain to try and get back into like a good state of study. And I believe it was actually made in Canada, but I bought a bunch of CD albums, and I can't remember the exact name of it. It might have been iMusic, actually, now that I think about it. But it was most of it was all classical music, and they had underlying frequencies, built in to the music. And each CD was for a different purpose. One was for study, one was for athletic performance. So like I was already playing with sound-based frequencies back then. So it's just interesting how I'm just connecting the past to the present.
All right. And, with the Omnium, when you use the Soundlight Relax system, because both of our system, work on the Chinese organ clock or circadian rhythm, but because both control units know the time of the day, because you program the time in depending on in what time zone you're in, and you only do this once, and the systems always know what time of the day it is, so it gives you the right frequency, alpha, beta, gamma, for your brain, depending on what time of the day you go on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. So you don't even need to think about it unless, you want to play with it, of course. Then you
right.
can, right? And it's also about balancing both left and right brain hemispheres, right? It does that too. So people just love it, right?
This is pretty cool stuff. I mean, I definitely need to dig into the site even more. I mean, I have over the past few days, and it was funny because, and we can't really dive into this because we're almost coming to the end here, but my girlfriend's actually a veterinary doctor for horses. She's an equine vet. So I noticed on the one site, you have technology referencing the large animal practices and things of that nature.
That's right. And it's the same control unit. So if you're a veterinarian, right, or if you are a large animal owner, you can use the same control unit, because the control unit is always the most expensive part because of the technology.
Sure.
But you can use the same control unit for your horses than you do at home, all right? You just take that little control unit and you take it to the barn and you have the proper applicators for your animals. And then you take it back home and you use it yourself, right? So it's actually well thought out, and it is, and I say this with pride, it is the most effective and least expensive PEMF system for home use, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what a lot of people enjoy, because most of our business comes from our users. Like you use it and then you want to recommend it.
Oh yeah, word of mouth.
That's right. So there's also an exciting business opportunity that comes with it. 2 different marketing plans, for both of our units, and people seem to like, the Omnium. We're very big in British Columbia with the Omnium.
Okay.
They really caught on. So people make a really good living out there recommending it. And why not? And then some people say, oh, well, you shouldn't talk about business. Yes, if I have something to offer for you, where you could not only change your health, but also your wealth, like, why are you telling me I shouldn't be selling something? Nobody.
I have the same conversation. I've been using that company Isogenics since 2010, and not everybody's into network marketing, but it's like, okay, well, you can go buy some expensive product from some faceless company on a shelf that doesn't have any quality standards, or you learn about something through word of mouth from somebody else. So if I help somebody else get healthy, why wouldn't I want to get a little bit of payment out of that? And I can build another stream of income into my lifestyle, which in the end, everybody needs a little bit more money or more life balance. So it just makes sense.
Everybody needs a plan B in this economy. What's your plan B?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody does. And then when people say, oh, well, I don't want to sell anything, it's like, do you not want to make any money?
First of all, I always tell people, if you're going to approach this like you're trying to sell stuff, then you will fail. You're here just to share healthy information. And if somebody's interested, great. And if they're not, that's okay. That just means, like I tell people all the time, because I'm a sales and marketing professional and I consult all the time. I tell people, if no, it just means not right now, because they're not either open to it, you caught them on a bad day, or maybe they're just not at that point in their life where they're ready to open up and learn about something like that. It's okay. Move on. It's okay. You don't have to get every single person to do what you do.
You know what I sometimes say about our business opportunity? A year from now, my friend, you will regret.
Yes.
A year from now, you will regret.
Glenn discusses the same exact thing when we were hanging out last weekend at our university event over the weekend when I met and we did our episode live, and he said the same exact thing.
Glenn has an Omnium, right? There's a reason why Glenn has an Omnium, right?
Well, he's also somebody who has cared for patients for years as a chiropractor and a natural healer. He's trying to help people. So
that's right.
And himself.
It's very important, and when you get information, get it, like, make sure it resonates with you, whatever product that may be, or whatever I've been talking about for the last hour with you. Yeah.
Yes.
For people, do your research, right?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you cannot knock something until you try it or at least research it. But most people are too lazy to do that. And I was like, then you cannot badmouth something until you've at least done the research.
Exactly. And so I invite people, to go to our website. I invite you, Scott, to join our company. If it is for you, if it's not, fine. We had a great time.
I think it's cool. I definitely want to figure out a way to play around with some of this technology, because I want to see if this is one of my hacks that I've been missing. Again, I can't knock it till I try it. So I'm definitely going to be looking into this more after our podcast today.
And, we are, like, with PEMF Global and with Swiss Bionics, we are actually the most trusted people in the industry, simply because we were the first one to get the medical device license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for our product, and that was no small challenge, okay? And so
it never is.
and we have actually in some ways worked with Health Canada to help regulate this industry, and I tell you why. That's also very important, because there are a lot of PEMF systems out there that make claims that are simply not true. And these claims are being made to pry on vulnerable people and just to make a sale, right? So
that I agree with. There's a lot of companies that have actually given these types of business models in general, for example, a bad name because they just want to take your money to make more money off of your money. And they're not actually in the end giving you a quality product or a service that is going to impact your life. And those are the companies, at least here in the States, here in the US of A, that our wonderful IRS department will shut you down because they put laws in place a few years ago to fix that problem. So any companies that are still operating here in this country, like my own nutrition company, they're legit because you're not just throwing money to the wind. You're investing in a product to help yourself get healthy, and you don't have to do the business at all. That's just a side thing that if you're inspired and you want it, great. And that's why I respect companies that are focusing on the core product first.
Right.
Great. If the business work makes sense for you, wonderful. But let's focus on helping people get healthy first.
Right. And be credible. When we went through the license, a lot of people said, I don't trust Health Canada. You know what? Getting the license isn't so much about whether you trust Health Canada or not. It is about following the rules and regulations of the claims you can make with your product. And we helped Health Canada clean up the industry, and they shut some of the PMF companies down, no names again, and others had to go out and get the license too, right?
Good. You started upping the standardization and the expectations for the industry, and that's what people need to notice too. Is like you guys are always going to be on an upward climb. The most important thing is who's the ones who are surviving that climb and maybe even leading the way, because that's a good sign that you're working with the right company or the right relationship.
That's right. And I didn't want to coexist as a PMF system, within other PMF systems that tell you that PMF cures cancer and all this kind of stuff, when it is not true, because the only thing that can ever rid itself, or the only the body can rid itself of cancer by giving it the right things to function, not only on the cell level, but also to have the right foods, the right mindset. It's a whole gamut of what you need to do. So if somebody uses a PMF system and says, oh, I don't have cancer anymore, I cannot go out and say it cures cancer because I don't know what else the other person did, right? It would be a disservice to say to people, all you need is a PMF system, because not true.
No, there's so many other variables that come into play. Like again, a PMF system is not going to keep your body alive if you stop eating, drinking, doing everything else that you're doing in your life. It's just what you're trying to implement is that it's becoming, unfortunately, due to our environment, it's becoming an essential platform or product to help you battle the onslaught of everything we have in our modern day of life. So it's becoming an essential tool that you add into your arsenal. And that's what I'm getting at of all of this, is that, hey, it's one more missing component of your arsenal besides your sleep and your nutrition and everything else we're doing to try and, really maximize our peak health.
That's right. You got it.
I try and say I'm a quick learner.
Yeah, you are.
But that was the point of this, is like, I love bringing on co-hosts who are out of the box. All right. There's stuff out there that, again, some of our listeners might be like, what the heck did she just talk about? That was hokey. And that's okay. Because again, we are all at a different place in our lives. And as we grow, and that's why I tell people, like Glenn said, like become your own self, your own internal physician. Like we all are starting at a different place in the timeline. Yeah. So it's okay if you're not ready for this yet. Just keep it in the back of your mind. And as you progress, maybe fixing your nutrition first, or your sleep first, or cutting down on the amount of blue light in your smart devices first, whatever it is, like it's just, if you're open to it, it becomes an essential step on the staircase as you climb up and you keep improving your life.
And what if you can't sleep without a PMF system? That has happened for thousands of people,
Wow.
Tried everything and couldn't sleep. Finally got their PMF system, which they shouldn't have waited for a year, right? But they did. And so then their sleep improved. And then all of a sudden, everything else started to improve, right?
Well, I'm heavily going to be looking into this because, the love of my life, my girlfriend that I live with here, she does have some uh, inconsistent sleep patterns, and I've been trying everything under the sun.
There you
She's
go.
not very, she's not a pill taker. Like I know that we're all deficient in magnesium, but she hates taking magnesium. She doesn't like taking vitamins, and I get it. So I'm just,
I blame her.
we've blacked out, the master bedroom, trying to remove all the unnatural light, really try and make it more susceptible and healthy for sleeping. But again, we're not there. It's not perfect yet.
So do you have wireless in your house?
We do. It's right next to my desk.
Can you turn off the router at night?
Yeah, why not? You don't need it.
Try that.
Okay. Interesting. And obviously that would take time, right? That takes time. And once you start doing that, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to take that. Yeah, because literally our bedroom is right next to this room. So the Wi-Fi router is only through the wall, maybe 15, 20 feet from our bed.
Bad.
Yeah, I figured.
Can you turn off the router at night?
Easily. Yeah.
Easily. And then let me know.
Okay.
Right?
Now, are you saying the whole in the internet or just the Wi-Fi router?
Well, the whole internet.
Yeah, because you have the main router and then you got a Wi-Fi router that's doing the wireless transmission. So there's the one that's hardwired coming into the house that we have, and then there's the one transmitting it wirelessly. So
yeah, the one that's transmitting.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah, turn it off.
Hey, I'll try anything.
And make sure she doesn't have a cell phone on her night table.
I can't stop her from doing that because her excuse is that she's an on-call doctor because it's her business. So that's part of her issue. She's been that way for years because she's an on-call vet and people call in the middle of the night, which does not help her with her programmed circadian rhythm. So I'm just trying to find a way to fix what I can.
You know what? I'm an on-call mother. I have a daughter, all right, one daughter. We're very close. And she's German, so if she wants something, she wants something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you always, when it's about your kids, you always want to know, you don't want to miss. So the point I'm trying to make, at least, can she put her cell phone
in the next room?
Well, or even further away, like on a drawer or something.
Yeah.
And up the volume.
Oh, easily. I offer to do that too. I said, listen, why don't I move both of our phones into the living room so it's outside the bedroom? You just turn the volume up because either way, you're not going to sit in the bed with me and wake me up to take care of an emergency call. You're probably going to get up and go answer the phone anyway. So why does it have to be in the bedroom?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And if she thinks she can't separate herself from that, just tell her Ali said to try it for a few nights.
There we go.
And then if she sleeps better, she will want to do it herself.
Okay.
And if she doesn't sleep better, then she'll tell us, well, I told you so, it wouldn't work, right?
Well, no, one thing I've learned is it's never going to be I told you so. It's just I teach her something, and then if she decides that she wants to incorporate it, then great. It might take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I just have to be patient because I don't know everything. All I'm doing is passing the knowledge on, and when she's ready to incorporate it, she can incorporate it if she ever does. So,
but that's all we can ever do for people. We share our knowledge, but they have to decide. And that's also why I just stick to the one thing, PEMF, because it's the fundamental. And it's not because I don't want to know anything else, but I want to be good in what I do for people.
Right.
Right. So I don't want to be a master of many. Right.
Don't need to. Specialized.
I want to be of service to people and help them with their health if they choose to. And everybody's happy. I'm happy to receive emails with questions. I never do a sales job or anything because in the end, it is the people who decide what they want to use and what not. Right?
Exactly. We are all. The most important thing we can do for each other is present people with more and more options and let them figure out what path they want to take. It's their decision. And either they're ready now or they're going to be ready later, but at least now they know about it. and they're better informed. And that's part of this podcast. Like, not everybody's going to agree with every single co-host who comes on this show or things that I say, and that's fine. We're just trying to put good quality content out there for the people who do understand they are trying to better themselves and they're trying to teach and learn other people or just improve themselves along the way. But let's give them the good content and then let them make their own decisions.
Exactly. That's exactly how I think, you know, and I sometimes feel sorry for people because they are so bombarded with information, right? Like, it's such a busy world out there, you know, with all the shoulds and should nots, right?
There is a lot.
In this literally soul-sucking society, right?
Yes.
That's where we are.
It's very aggressive. And a lot of us, like, I try and live, the glass is like beyond half full. But everybody's got our good days and our bad days. And sometimes the universe just wants to really test you. And I had this on the last, the sports psychologist that I have on regularly. Megan and I talked about in the last episode before you came on. We brought that up about, hey man, the universe is going to test you. You just got to keep putting in that effort and battling the negativity that comes your way, or just moving beyond it and past it. Don't let it bring you down, because it's just going to keep happening the rest of your life. It's just normal. It's just, we have to hack it and find a way to get beyond it quicker. That's all that matters.
That's right. It's still a good world out there with good people, even though it's a crazy world.
I don't know. I think some of the craziness makes it more fun.
Right.
Well, so Allie, this has been powerful. Thank you so much. And hang on the line when I hang up here, when I stop recording, because I want to say a proper goodbye to you. But before I do that, I always give our co-host the opportunity to give the final words before I close the show. And this is your opportunity where the listeners, if they forget everything else we discussed on this show, that's fine. Because if you can still just remember Allie's like message, like, and maybe it's just the message you're trying to put out to the world, to the universe.
Yes, I have one.
I figured you would. So let her rip.
Okay. I have one, because I think up until now, you know, the whole education or the whole points that were made in this world is the idea of loving yourself, right? Love yourself. You know that phrase?
Oh, yes. Very well.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Because to me, love yourselves first. Love every single one of your 75 trillion cells, because that is what your body is made out of. And you got to be good to yourself, but also to yourselves. Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. 72,000 times over.
Yep.
Wow. Well, thank you for that message, Allie. Hang tight. We'll close this out real quick. So again, to our listeners, that's a powerful final words. I love when we bring on just passionate co-hosts like Allie. She's got some messaging that's really taken us beyond maybe where a lot of you currently are today. So just like she messaged, besides just loving yourself, literally love yourselves, the 72,000 times of yourselves. So again, guys, this is what we're all about. We're here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. Keep living a fired up, epic life. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, podcast is clear. The video is just extra content. So did you have fun?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been on other podcasts before. So
Pardon?
have you been on other podcasts?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured. So
yeah.
I like to be a little bit different. I hope I'm standing out differently than other shows.
Oh, so. Yeah, it's fun. You're not just following some script.
I will not script myself. As a sales and marketing professional, I'm like, anybody who reads from a script, like, you're not adapting to your audience. Like, everything should be fresh. You should be focused. I want to be paying attention to you. I want to be hearing you. I want to be seeing you. The video stuff is now new and fun. But like, this is what it's all about. Like, you should be fully dialed in with whoever you're working with. So I can't physically see every single one of the people downloading this show, but I want to make sure that they get a great experience from you, the co-host, and myself. And it's a legit conversation that they feel like they're kind of eavesdropping in on. So
right now, I thought it was great that, you know, you put in what you do and where you come from and what you learned, right?
Well, because you and I are getting to know each other together. Like, I can only do so much background research off the internet. In the end, that's what part of this is, because I've literally had people who were on last year when we first launched, and I've started bringing certain people back on because they have something powerful to share or something new or some kind of updates. And that's why I tell my co-hosts too, I'm like, hey, don't think about this as just one of your own appearances. If there's something that ends up happening in a few months, some people literally are publishing books, or there's a new book release happening or whatever. I'm like, great. Like, let's be real. This is a marketing platform as well, not just an entertainment platform. So I want to be helping people get their message out there, and plus helping Google, tie it all together and find everybody.
Yeah.
So that's why my podcast has a website. There's a lot of podcasts who don't have websites. So I'm like, you guys are crazy, because you need the show notes page, which is a blog article, because that keeps Google happy, because then I put all of your content, all of your links, all your profiles, your websites, everything into that. That way Google sees that, and it starts tying us together with your world and my world. So
no, it's great, because I mean, people need to know about you. You spent this time with me, so you need an opportunity to introduce yourself to whoever listens to the podcast, and give them an opportunity to sign up for your newsletter or your website as well.
Exactly. So.
I don't like to be like, I know this is a dog-eat world, It
is.
I know that, but like, to me, it's like, everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something to share, and whether it resonates with you or not, it's up to you, right? But there's no, this is better than this, and mine is better than yours. I don't believe in all this bullshit.
No, it is bullshit. I tell people all the time, like, listen, just when it comes to this show, for example, I'm like, that's why I say, hey, if somebody swears on your show, I don't edit it out. I'm like, it's real. If you end up not liking that and you stop listening to my show because somebody said shit, I'm like, oh, well, darn. This is the real world.
Well, I don't want to say shit, but
no.
I say effing, right?
Right, exactly. There's some words that are harsher than others, but the point is like, we're keeping things real, and you're not going to make every person happy, but you are going to attract and draw the right audience to the right messaging. And that's what matters, because as I put out every new episode on this show, we will attract new listeners, and some old listeners may come back, go away, come back, or just stay subscribed and be hooked on this show. And that's what I love watching and seeing, because that means we're putting out good content. And people, and that's the beauty of a podcast. People can come back and listen to this again, or they have a friend in the car. It's like, hey, let me bring this episode back up. I'd like you to hear it while we're on a road trip together. That's the power of this stuff.
And I don't care what people think.
Nope. That's a part of personal growth. Everybody needs to get to that point in their lives where stop caring what other people think.
I'm trying to teach that to my daughter, because she always wants to have a peaceful life, and have peace.
But that peace comes from within, just like happiness.
Well, it comes when you stop worrying about what other people think, because you cannot be peaceful if you worry about what other people think.
Well, it's like this message right here.
Happiness, it's a way of life. Yeah.
Right? So just like that, and also not caring what people think, like, if you're happy on the inside with everything you're doing, the choices you make in your life and where you're going.
That's right.
That's a great way of life, man. I don't care what else is going on.
I know. It's great.
I picked that up at a coffee shop yesterday. It really inspired me. And I said, you know what? Thank you for the coffee. I'm going to buy that too.
Nice.
So I love positive messaging like that. So
yes.
But thank you. This is awesome. And I'm definitely digging more into this, because I got to figure out, I'm sure this type of technology is not cheap. I didn't even look at that stuff yet. So I got to figure that all out too. But I really want to take that pad, and I want to, my girlfriend every night watches television. I'm not a big TV person, but that's how she tries to wind down at the end of the day. So I'm like, great. While you're doing your mind games on your iPad, I'm going to slide that pad under you.
Yeah.
And you're going to lay there for that hour or two, and I'm going to turn that on once in a while.
She doesn't need an hour.
No, you said 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
So, yeah.
I sometimes do 16 minutes in the evening, or 24. Just because, I can put in my bed, and like your girlfriend, I watch TV because I didn't have TV for 7 or 8 years on purpose.
Yep.
Right? And I had this old, those huge big box TVs.
Oh yeah, I grew up with them. Yep.
Yeah, and I was always too cheap to invest in a new TV. That's, why, like, I had a small screen, so it was no fun watching TV. But then I moved. And I got 2 big TVs. And
And now, according to Jack and other people, now you've got all these crazy frequencies, because you got these massive flat screens and everything. So you got to battle it.
Well, I just, my hope is, once I'm saturated with the luxury of being able to watch TV in bed, which I never had, all right, then maybe I will stop again.
Yeah. I have actually gone that way. When I was out west doing the firefighting, I minimalized my life. I gave everything away, sold everything, fit my life in my car. I had a townhome and everything when I had my corporate job, and I got rid of everything. My life fit in my car, and I lived on their military base. And even afterwards, when I stopped firefighting, when I was living in Colorado, there was probably a good 2 or 3 years I did not have a television. And even when I moved back here to Pennsylvania, probably for the next, at least a year or so, I didn't have television. I didn't need it. So, yeah.
Well, I'm probably going to get there too again.
Like I said, everything in moderation. That's, I think, what a lot of this is like. So, but thank you for this today. And as a request of you also, when I do the web content, if there's any professional images that you would like, because I need to have, obviously, some either headshots or maybe there's photos of you like literally at a speaking event, because I love action shots like that, but whatever you're comfortable with, because at least one is used as the primary episode graphic that I overlay the episode number and your name over, which I share out to Twitter and Instagram and everything else, but on the web page. And then I always at least try and embed one more image into the actual blog content.
Can you not download them from my PEMF Global website?
If they're high resolution images and they look good, yes. But sometimes when your web guy is putting images on your website, they change the resolution because they want to make the website respond good. So I haven't actually purposely looked at them yet. I don't know if they are good, high quality. So
if you send me your email on Facebook private message.
Oh yeah, I thought I sent it to you. That's fine. I mean, it's easy. I tell people all the time. It's just Scott@livethefuel.com. It's pretty easy.
But I need it. I need to see it. So
I'll message you.
First private message me on Facebook.
There we go.
I'll send you a couple of images and you pick what you like for your website.
There we go. I want to do you justice and make sure you have a great image out there through the
I look good on
platform.
every picture, okay?
What's that?
I look good on every picture, and this business is amazing because I'm in it.
Well, there we go. That's a good problem to have then. Well, this is great. I literally have another call starting here in 3 minutes, and I want to make sure I give you your time back to the day. So this has been phenomenal. I'm so glad we got a chance to connect up.
Yeah, was exciting.
I tell my other co-hosts, if there's other people that you're connected with you think that would, fit the demographic of this show, let me know. I'm open to, working with other people. I've literally, it just keeps growing. I never know who I'm going to bring on next. All of a sudden, people are connecting with people. So it's been great.
Yeah, if I think of somebody like, I'll let you know. There are a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and like I said, and I will definitely keep you in the loop. I think this is going to release. I'm not sure if it's next week or the week after. I'm usually within a 1 to 2 week time frame for episode release, but this will be some new content for you guys to share. Like, hey, our latest appearance on another podcast or something.
Will you send me the link so I can post it?
Oh yeah. Everything goes to livethefuel.com, and then everything goes out to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I hit everybody.
Okay. Because then I can also send it to my web guy.
Yeah.
And he can put it on my website.
There you go. Yeah, I tell people all the time, like if you've been on podcast shows, like put that, hey, as heard or seen on, this show, that show, that show. Admittedly, I got to do it to myself because I've been on 2 or 3 podcasts now, so I got to get my web guy to build that in because that's more exposure. It's adding authority and exposure so people can learn. This is all free content. Let them know about it.
I'm the authority of the good life.
Exactly. So, well, thank you again. It's been awesome.
Yes, it was exciting. You take care, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.